Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Coach Kid Fun Day back at it once again, kicking it for you and for yours. I like to give credit to my ancestors, show them much love, for giving me the knowledge, wisdom, understanding to do these videos. And also, I like to give credit to y'all, the subscribing and watching, as well as watching the videos. Now, this right here is how the reproductive system of black Americans were forcibly removed through surgery in the 1900s. You know, I think I need to get into this because it gets into a deep scenario about what's going on, still going on today. The history of America is littered with some of the most atrocious humanitarian crimes ever committed against humans. Those who were the victim of these repressions were our African Americans and later on other ethnic minorities. One such practice was eugenics, which was started in America before World War II. It was basically the sterilization or the removal of the reproductive system of African Americans whom the government deemed as inferior or dangerous. And these were basically poor, disabled, dementally ill, and criminals. The process involving castration of men and opening women up to remove their reproductive organ systems or surgically block them from being able to get pregnant and have children. In the late 1900s, early 20th century, science and other elites considered eugenics as a method of preserving and improving dominant groups in genes in the American population. The masses were able to make to believe that it was better for society and rid of the weaker, unwanted genes, but it soon turned into a tool against African American people. The eugenics movement in America was initially advocated by Sir Francis Galton and his biological determinist ideas in the 1880s. He studied in the upper classes of Britain and had a conclusion that their social status and position was due to their superior genetic makeup. Many of those who had the same belief as Galton believed that through selective breeding, the human race could direct its own evolution. They believed strongly that the genes of the Nordic, Germanic, and Anglo-Saxons were more superior. Now, kind of a twist in the debate theory is that it was not one designed to continue the persecution against African Americans. How do you define and decide genetic superiority to white men by social class, knowing full well of hundreds of years of slavery perpetually placed the African American in a lower social class? This has got to be the most hate-induced, narcotic influence in scientific theory of all ages. It's total bollocks. The eugenicist movement in America received extensive funding corporation foundries, including the Rockefeller Foundation, they funded for this. The Carnegie Institution, they funded for this. The Harriman Railroad Fortune. The Eugenics Recorder Office, the ERO, was founded in Cold Springs Harbor, New York, in 1911 by renowned biologist Charles B. Davenport, using the funds from the Harriman Railroad Fortune and the Carnegie Institution. The eugenics and their twisted supporters and theories believed that poverty was a characteristic of genetic inferiority, and this conveniently pushed the place of the population into the unfit section for their fit versus unfit eugenics classification. Learning these things now, one would think that the scientists and the elites of that era were on crack. The height of this practice was compulsory and forced sterilization. This first passed into law by the state of Indiana in 1907 and was later followed by 32 states. Between 1907 and 163, over 640,000 people in America were forcibly sterilized under eugenics legislation in the United States. In 1972, the United States Senate Committee report said that at least 2,000 involuntary sterilizations have been performed on poor black women without their knowledge or consent. The investigation into this revealed that the surgeries were all performed in southern states and were all performed on black welfare mothers with plenty of children. Testimony revealed that many of these black women were threatened with the end of their welfare benefits until they agreed to sterilization. If you are cognizant with the American history of black oppression in southern states, you would agree that the eugenics theory was maliciously concocted policy targeting mostly African American people. Till today, it is believed that such practice persists in some states. Let me read this again. Until today, it is believed that such practices persist in some states in America. Very recently, prisons in California reported to have authorized sterilization of 150 female inmates between 2006 and 2010. This article from the Center of Investigation Reporting reveals how the state of California paid doctors $147,460 to perform two litigations that former inmates say were done under coercion and force. But the state of California is far from being the only state with such disturbing practices. For a disturbing history lesson, you can visit this comparative database for your state eugenicist history. Or you can like and look us up on the Facebook page. Now, this stuff still goes on today, as I said before. And they give you a list of the states that still does it. You know what I'm saying? That we're not going to look through, but you can take the time and look through it for yourself. So this stuff still kind of goes on to keeping down the black population to a certain percentage. You know what I'm saying? So it don't grow as much. So they do forced sterilization and abortions and pills and stuff like that. So you got to keep your head on the swivel. You know what I'm saying? I remember one time when my son was being born, my daughter was being born. I made sure when they had to give my ex-wife at the time a C-section, I made sure that I was there to make sure they put everything back in the right proper place where everything need to go to. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be up on it. You gotta protect your woman. You know what I'm saying? And that's the reason why she in this predicament now, the black woman, because the black male is not protecting her. We gotta recognize that fact. Anyway, this is Coach Gift Funday. Like, subscribe to the channel. You know what I'm saying? Much love to you and yours, and peace.